let's pause. I want to bring in, I was going to come to General Katoch because I want to explain something here that I think people don't understand. That Director Generals of Military Operations talk through conflict. The hotline is open. They talk through war. There is communication. You cannot surely be accusing your foreign minister of some treason here. I mean, I find the issue only completely manufactured. Let's talk about real things. You can talk about why Trump is saying what he's saying. You can talk about why the Western media is biased. And I would take all of those points. There are genuine things to talk about. But since I saw Yashwant raising his hand first, General Katoch, with your permission, I'll just get Yashwant, then come to you, and then Padma. Yashwant, please go ahead.
Barkha, I would not have liked to discuss the politics today,
Yes,
given the subject and scenario. But honestly speaking, what has happened from the side of Congress right now doesn't even make a political sense, Barkha. So far in the last a week or 2 week kind of thing, the maximum traction for the Congress or the positivity for the Congress was gained by Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari. Even from the political perspective, you are just throwing away that entire goodwill these two gentlemen have earned for your party by kind of almost looking like you are punishing them something for something good. So that doesn't make sense in any case. Even from the local politics, it doesn't make any sense. Shashi Tharoor, I checked because I don't want, while you were talking, I was looking at what exactly is making sense. Even in Kerala, where the elections are due in next year, Shashi Tharoor is the only Congress leader whose rating is in double figures, in double digits. All other pygmies of the Congress are not even in single digit kind of thing. So I actually, from political point perspective also, it's going above my head right now. But today is not the day where I would like to discuss politics. Kerala tracker, we will discuss it some other day. Let's just discuss it.
I will come to the sea water tracker in the next round of questions, Yashwant, just to get first comments here, because something which Mahima raised, General Katoch, Rahul Gandhi has now put it on record, and since he's the leader of the opposition, I think this is an absolute non-issue. And it is very silly for the Congress to pick it. Sorry, mind my words, but I feel very strongly about the military. It's the one thing where I show my partisanship and my emotion. Rahul Gandhi has accused Jaishankar of informing Pakistan at the start of an attack was a crime. I'm reading out Rahul Gandhi's tweet. Everybody please listen, pay attention. Rahul Gandhi says informing Pakistan at the start of an attack was a crime. The External Affairs Minister has publicly admitted that the government of India did it. 1, who authorized it? 2, how many aircraft did our Air Force lose as a result? Now, we are in a very unfortunate moment in Operation Sindoor, where the political unity that we had seen on display, the social unity that we had seen on display is being wrenched open, actually with a very, sorry Mahima, I just cannot agree with this question. I mean, are we really going to seriously discuss this allegation? I want General Katoch to respond. And, this is based on a Jaishankar statement that we told Pakistan that we are only targeting your terror bases. That is his statement. What India is trying to say is that we were never interested in targeting your air bases. That was not part of the plan. If you hadn't sent drones and missiles into our country, we wouldn't have hit you. But you hit us, so we hit you. Till we were targeting your terror bases, that's not an act of war. Americans came in and took out Osama bin Laden from Pakistan. That was not an act of war. So that is what he's explaining, to which Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, has accused Mr. Jaishankar of, I'll read it again, informing Pakistan at the start of our attack was a crime. Who authorized it and how many aircraft did our Air Force lose as a result? General Katoch, I'll ask you to respond.
Thank you, Barkha.
Rajat is saying this is treason, and I am saying it's very, very, it's very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. I don't know what else to say.
If you're allowing intermediate comments, then you should have allowed mine also, because I have
a couple of. I will. Mahima, I will.
Mahima, just give me 1 minute, ma'am.
Mahima, just like General. Mahima, this is not.
If you give your comments after you hear me. Just hear me out, ma'am. And I'm not taking any.
Mahima, I will give you equal time. I promise you. General Katoch, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Barkha, I just want to explain a few things, which is very important to understand. Right from the start of Operation Sindoor, firstly, nobody knew when it is going to take place. That security and surprise element was outstanding. Nobody knew, including our foreign diplomat. So, I'll address that issue later. Now, right at the beginning, and I'm telling you from the military perspective because these things had taken place on the ground, they were told very clearly the objective is limited, that we will take out the terror hideouts and we will not we will not escalate the battle further. So we started off with that objective that we are going to take out the terror bases. Now that was the military plan. Now, as soon as we took out those 9 terror bases on the night of 6th, 7th of May, that was the time the DGMO rang up his counterpart. And he told him, we have taken out your targets. These were terrorist targets. We are not going after your military or civilian infrastructure. If you, we will not escalate further. But if you do anything, the response will be massive. Now, that was the messaging given with the hope that it'll stop. You know, that we don't have to go any further. We don't have to get
right.
Now, what they did was they sent in those drones and they sent in the missiles in the very next night. And when they did that, fortunately, our air defense system, which is the indigenous, the Akash Steel, the indigenous system, it worked beautifully well. Now, everybody knows it's a good system, but ultimately, you have to test it in battle. And when they tested it in battle, it worked. And the Pakistanis got much, because the response which we gave after that, we hoping that they'll stop. Now, again, they didn't stop. So when it took place on the third night, we're talking of the night 9th, 10th, again, they did it. This time when we responded and we destroyed their air assets, on the ground, they had nothing left. And that is the time they panicked and they said no more. So if they could have said that no more earlier, they didn't. If they had said that no more on the first day, it is over. They didn't. Then they said no more and they started crying for a ceasefire. Their DGMO rang up our DGMO and we said, okay, if you don't want to escalate, we are not going to escalate. That was the original plan, one. Number two, the question of why our foreign diplomats haven't, listen, 48 hours, 72 hours, nobody knows what is happening. It is very difficult for foreign diplomats to try to convince external powers what the Indian stance is in a 4 days battle, in a 3 days battle. We may like to, whatever it is. I mean, I'm telling you from practical experience, it can't be done.
Also, if I may interrupt on that point, General Katoch, because I was on the ground when all these drones and missiles were coming in, we didn't know necessarily, on the 4th day when the hostilities were halted, in the morning, I thought we were headed for all-out war. Just to Rajat's point, I think it would have been very difficult to message diplomatically in parallel because we didn't know if it was going to end with the attack on the terror bases, whether it was going to go higher, how long it was going to last. So just giving some benefit of the doubt there, but please complete your point.
Yeah. So, at that time I was also on Doordarshan and I told them, I said, listen, we are in a very dicey situation because I was under the impression it is going to stop. But then I was proved wrong on the night, the night of 8th, 9th when it continued. Then I told them on Doordarshan again, I said, if it continues for another 48 hours, it is going to be a full-fledged war or it stops.
Yeah.
I said, there is I said, the way I have read it as a military man, I don't see any other options. If we don't stop, if it doesn't stop within 48 hours, it's a full-fledged war and then all bets are off.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, Pakistan still has a choice. I think they took a wise choice, very frankly. There's one more point I want to give. Just one more point.
Sorry. Yes.
The question is the stance of foreign countries. I would like to make it very clear. It's got nothing to do with the Congress or the BJP or any party, No foreign power will support India. No, not because we are bad or good. We are competitors. We are the ones who will challenge America, Western Europe, Russia, China. Nobody's going to take you. If you were nice and weak and soft, everybody would say what lovely people you are. Nobody's going to say that. We better learn to stand on our own. No war, whether it's under the Congress leadership or the BJP leadership or anybody or any other leadership. No foreign power will support India. भारत को कोई मदद नहीं करेगा, ये हमको खुद करना है, and that is why it is very important. While political fights must go on as part of a democracy, when national wars are concerned, everybody must fight together because we require 3 things in a military combat. I want to make, you've got many large viewers, they must see this. 1, you require the political will. Number 2, you require a capable military. And 3, which is as important as the first 2, you require the whole nation behind you. And by whole nation, I mean every single person behind the armed forces. And then you win. Then there's no way you can lose. So this is actually what has happened on the ground, that it is a very short duration thing. Let us not expect miracles in 4 days and say that, okay, everything, the Americans will fall at our feet. It's not going to happen. And they will always be your competitors. They'll be friends when it suits them. Otherwise, they will be competitors. And that is the way life is, regardless of what the situation is. That's my assessment.
I couldn't agree with you more. I wrote the same in the Hindustan Times this morning, saying that two things will not change: Pakistan's perfidy and the West's hypocrisy. I don't expect either to change. Padma, please come in. You've been waiting very patiently, and then Mahima, and then I want Yashwant's C voter has some very interesting 3-4 key points we look at on how people are looking at the armed forces, how people are looking at the ceasefire in quotes, how people are looking at who's our biggest adversary. Is it China or Pakistan? And the answers may really surprise you, Padma. But I want to briefly return, and again, this is really, I couldn't care less about right wing, left wing, BJP, Congress. I care about my country, as we all do. I care about our armed forces. I care about, them standing in the line of fire to defend us. And I think that when we have the leader of the opposition basically accusing the foreign affairs minister of leaking the attack, we hurt our unity. It is a ludicrous, with apologies to Mahima, it is a ludicrous allegation, but it has been made, it will be picked up in Pakistan, and it will be used by them, unfortunately. And I'm not questioning Rahul Gandhi's intent here. I just think it's a really stupid thing to do. Padma.
I totally agree with you. It was absolutely ludicrous. I have a few points. Please bear with me, Barkha. I'll start with what the other speakers said. Mahima ji, from your remarks, it's very sadly obvious that the Congress seems hell-bent on making itself seem ridiculous, and it's still given to party hierarchy, seniority, almost like babudam. Kisko delegation mein bhejna hai, kisko nahi, kaun junior hai, kaun senior hai. This is babudam. This is not a feeling of national pride and unity that the Congress is reflecting. To Rajat, I completely disagree with you, Rajat. I have worked in the highest positions. You don't know me, so I'm introducing myself briefly. In charge of the South Asia Bureau, not in some, sort of lowly positions. And as sole correspondent for more than 35 years across the world, from New York to Germany to India, and with the top publications, I know the inside workings of the international media from within their newsrooms intimately. I can tell you that global media work very differently. They do not invite opinions from Indian leaders, overall from developing countries, which is what they still see us as, let alone, give people columns to write and invite diplomats for opinions and all that, unless it is on subjects on which they have no particular opinion. So there's no question of giving platform to diplomats of our countries, etc., etc. This is not just true of what we imagine are left liberal media. Even conservative media, or so-called conservative political parties across the world, have the same level of distrust as far as India is concerned. So there is little that diplomats around the world could have done, before this military action. Not to mention the fact that the military action itself was successful because it had that element of surprise, and it is General Katoch also pointed out. Now, coming to my, example, I mean, for what Barkha mentioned, I have now restricted myself to only speaking on television as and when I'm invited. I will not do print pieces anymore, because Western media during this conflict began to refuse to send writers as senior as I playback, which is, which every writer has a right to see what they're putting out after the editing, after it's been chopped and not change. So that is the reason why I put my foot down after this long and very successful career. I just simply decided, as far as I'm concerned, and unlike the Congress party, perhaps the nation does come first. I don't really care anymore, and I think television is a healthier medium because one can just express one's thoughts. Now, coming to what Barkha said, Barkha, you're absolutely right. You talked about arrogance, etc., in the Western media. I'll add a few epithets of my own. There is neo-imperialism, and there is an age-old view, and this is very important, because don't forget that the rest of the world is dominated by the two huge religions, Christianity and Islam, number one and number two. And for the Western perspective, we Indians are Hindus, monkey worshipping, elephant worshipping savages with mumbo jumbo and mantras. So how could the rational West, which sees itself as the fountainhead of reasoning, logic, thought, technology, etc., accept that such creatures like us could possibly handle nuclear weapons and even, go through sophisticated procedures like warfare? So this is at the root of this Western distrust, and I completely agree with General Katoch. Nobody is going to come to our aid. we are alone in this one. So I'm happy about the forthcoming delegations, but I have zero optimism. We are on our own because we are seen as a threat because of our success. We are not seen as
Okay.
potential partners. Yeah.
Okay, I want to, everybody has reactions. Please remember, we have to take a time out from our political disagreements to look at Yashwant's findings, which are also very illustrative. But I will allow both Mahima and Rajat to have a response to Rahul Gandhi. You know, if it were anybody else, Mahima ji, I would have ignored it because I would have said, why should I actually even platform this question right now? But it is the leader of the opposition. And it is, I have to report it. So I'm going to go back to that tweet by Rahul Gandhi. And if we can please bring up the corresponding banner of what he has actually said. Again, Mahima, I beg you to explain to me how this is a question that is valid from any perspective right now. What is the allegation? What is the allegation? What is the allegation?
Before I come to answer your question, I would what I was going to say earlier. Let me just say, see, number one is that if you've got to have a Congress spokesperson, please have a BJP spokesperson to counter me. I don't want dummy political analysts, actual BJP spokespersons on the inside.
Okay,
whose
next
DNA
time
is
we'll do that.
No,
All right, next time.
So
Okay.
please do not let your political analyst fill in the shoes of the BJP
Okay.
spokesperson here.
Okay.
Let him do
Okay.
what he does best, analysis. Now, let me
Okay.
come to this. You
Hmm.
see that everybody is talking about the unity, the nation's unity. Where did that unity come from, Barkha? When this happened on the April 22nd, the first response of support came from the Congress party. Our leaders came out and said, we stand behind the government. Please go ahead and do what you must do. Whatever you do, we are behind you. We are with you. And what did the government do? The prime minister never comes to chair an all party meeting, which is out of the league in terms of what has been the precedent, what has been the tradition in previous incidents such as this. The opposition called, which in that case was the BJP, called for special parliament sessions, and they were conducted, and the answers were given to the opposition, rather than getting into this pettiness of saying that we cannot discuss national security. We do know who hides behind national security to evade from accountability.
Mahima,
Now,
what is this tweet on our screen? I am asking you. Forget BJP. I am asking you, as a journalist who has covered only war and military for nearly 30 years, that has been my primary beat. I ask you this not as a political journalist. I ask you this as a conflict reporter. This tweet by Rahul Gandhi makes zero sense. Ma'am, I never use words like this. It makes zero sense because you're basically implying that the foreign minister of our country has tipped off the Pakistanis. I mean, do you understand the import of what is being said here? Do you understand the import of this?
Barkha, hats off to your resource, and I do really deeply respect you for the resource and for the person that you are, for the journalism that you have embodied all these years. We have seen that very resource of yours being targeted at the wrong hands, and there are those who embody power today, who adorn power today, but what we are seeing is sheer hollowness. Rahul Gandhi's
Ma'am,
tweet is being questioned. Allow me. Rahul Gandhiji's tweet is being questioned today because answers have not been given. There are experts from the army and military. You see, General VP Malik and retired General Manoj Naravane came out and said that we have lost this chance. I do deeply respect the veteran sitting on your show. I do deeply respect, I bear deep respect for the valor of our armed forces, but I would say, I would resonate what General Naravane said when he said that we have almost lost this chance for a third time. Now, the political camaraderie has also seen a steep fall under this regime. You would see that they're asking, I want to come back to the main question of your show today, what you are conducting this show for the nominations. And I want to make this point here, that we responded to their query of nominations, thinking that they're asking earnestly when they were actually asking mischievously. We did not see that coming because we have been standing in solidarity.
Has this political tweet, okay, I have to let the others speak, but very briefly, has this political tweet by Mr. Gandhi, which I think is a dangerous tweet, and that's why I have no partisanship here when I'm saying it. I'm really just saying it from my heart. I think this is a dangerous tweet. I would take it down. But is this political tweet because you're angry that the BJP scored a political point by announcing Tharoor before the Congress? Is this in response to that? Why this tweet makes no? Please think. Why is this tweet there? Why? What does this tweet mean? What is this
Let
tweet?
me respond if you will. Mr. Gandhi's tweets, this one and all the others, I believe and I see that they are very poised. They are very well evaluated. When
I agree. This is the first time he's spoken out of tone, and it's a very odd tweet in this phase.
Well,
In this phase, this is the first time.
Why didn't you play out that statement of the External Affairs Minister?
I have heard it. Okay, we'll play it out. We'll play it out. I have heard that statement. He said, we told them we only want to target the terror bases. Now, General Katoch has explained at great length. Rajat, let's bring you in, and then I have to look at Yashwant, because so much debate around the ceasefire. Yashwant, see what a survey looks at precisely some of those questions. Rajat Sethi, do go ahead. Rajat.
Well, if self-goal was an art, then Rahul Gandhi is an artist. I'm not saying out of being a BJP supporter or a Congress supporter. The way Congress party is headed, I'm telling you, this entire country would be obliged that they are shut full and final if they carry on with this. Over the past 7 minutes that I was counting, beyond rambling, we did not hear a single reasoning behind this tweet. What Rahul Gandhi has said, that informing Pakistan at the start of an attack was a crime. What he's trying to say, that Jaishankar has committed a crime which comes under treason. He has done that by telling Pakistan. I mean, you are out of your senses. You've spoken something which I'm not aware of. You should let the public at least put forth the facts and figures that you have in mind before you arrive to that conclusion. Obnoxious tweet, nothing less than that. Now, coming to what Padmaji and Dhruv sir was talking about, and I don't want to get into political debate beyond this, but see, there was an event at Harvard Pakistan conference right after Harvard India conference. I have, been an alumnus from Harvard, and I can tell you, we put in so much of effort to get that conference put in place. The sponsors of that conference were Lakshmi Mittal Center of South Asia at Harvard. We wrote emails and we created so much of pressure, whatever little bit capacity that we could contribute to. Then there was a Colombia event also. Suddenly you were seeing that a very pro-Pakistan turn of events were happening around campuses, college campuses, as if there was this larger nexus or invisible hands of Pakistan which is prodding up these events. There were alumni of Colombia from India who were writing to the presidents and ensuring that there be parity on what is being discussed and reported by these so-called professors. This is what I'm saying. See, is Dhruv sir and Padmaji trying to say that our bureaucrats in these embassies should fold hands and wait till the narrative is set, all the damage is done? Of course not. You need to do something, right? What is that something? First of all, I said it has to be a perpetual exercise. It should not be a wartime exercise. You have to engage, no matter how you break into the boardrooms, you have to put in consistent efforts. You need to find people who are constantly writing, who have that nexus, who can penetrate into the systems. China, of all people, Putin had so much amount of effort to ensure that pro-China pieces have been written consistently for decades. I can say that because I have read those as case studies. Instances where I know of these instances around the lobbying effort that were put in DC and in the other countries.
Okay, Rajat.
To list out the objectives of the war before the war has even started, but there were good 12 days after the terror strike and the war from when India attacked Pakistan. What was happening in those 12 days? That's my simple response. I have questions. I don't know. I have been a campaign manager and I know this is not how campaigns and narratives are set.